All right, we're getting ready to read It All Began with Space War by Peter Roop Cobblestone. All right, and we're going to summarize this article. And so, one of the things I want you guys to do is I want you to set up a topic and main idea chart, right? Remember, we did one on cigarettes the other day. We read an article on cigarettes and we summarized it. So, you'll set one of these up, okay? And as you read, I want you to fill it out. Now, some of you might get creative and do something like this where you change the color of this to, this would be your topic right here. And you can do some transparent. Okay. And then that would be your topic. And then over here would be your main idea. Okay. As you read, you can figure those out. Words to look out for: established, demonstrations, and introduced, right? You're going to look for the context clues to tell you what those words mean, right? But more importantly, you're going to read to understand what this article is mostly about. How could you summarize it? Ooh, and it looks like it's going to be just using the text features. What do you suppose we're going to be talking about?
Games.
Ooh, gaming consoles, yes. All right. Now I'm excited to read about this, aren't you?
Yeah.
All right, so let's do just that. It all began with Space War, okay? And so,
Not a Diet Coke. If you're going anywhere, I'll take a Frosty.
oh, it's happening for sure. All right. So, we're going to take a look at this article, and it accidentally closed out on me. All right. It all began with Space War. Let's go. You ready? Two enemy spaceships slowly circled each other on a black and white screen. One spaceship accelerated as the other rotated to the right. The first spaceship fired a silent missile at its opponent. The missile missed its target. The second spaceship returned fire. Its missile hit the enemy and erased it from the screen. This was the scene on the screen of Space War, the world's first video game. This historic game ushered in the age of electronic games. The basic rules were quickly established. Two enemy spaceships controlled by switches firing missiles at one another. The team then added stars to the background and introduced gravity and hyperspace to make Space War more challenging and realistic. Space War was an immediate hit at computer conventions and demonstrations. It not only showed what a computer could do, but it was also fun to play. So what's the one word topic?
Space War.
Video games?
Yeah.
Or maybe it is Space War. Maybe we amend that. I'll leave video games, right? Also fun to play. Here's a timeline. Researchers use computer to play checkers and other games. Space War is invented in 1962. Ralph Baer begins work on a computer game to play on a home TV in 1971. Oh. All right. So there you have it. Space War proved, huh?
I know what they do.
Oh, games. Let's see. Yep. Games had been played on computers long before Space War was created. Researchers in the 1950s had programmed their giant electronic brains to play checkers, tic-tac-toe, and chess. Computers were so new in 1960 that nobody was certain just how many tasks these machines could perform. Games were ideal for discovering the intelligence of computers. 1975, home version of the game Pong becomes available. 77, a revolutionary home video game system with joystick and cartridges was introduced. That's Atari, right? 79, a variety of new video games begin to flood the market. So yeah, I'm good with video games. Space War proved too bulky and complicated for the average person to play. For years, it remained a researcher's game. Then, in 1971, Ralph Baer, an electronics engineer, began working on hooking a computer to a home television. Describing his work, Baer said, "The thought came to me that you should be able to do something else with television besides watch it. You ought to be able to play games." With this idea in mind, Baer invented Odyssey. Oh, I remember that. A game with a bouncing ball and paddles that could be played on a television screen. Odyssey was the first video game consumers could buy and play at home. About the same time, Nolan Bushnell and Ted Dabney, two electrical engineers, designed a game computer space. Bushnell described the game as a cosmic dogfight between a spaceship and a flying saucer. Computer space, however, did not catch on with game players, so Bushnell and Dabney invented an electric table tennis game, which they called Pong. An expert on arcade games, Bushnell matched the excitement of table tennis with the fun of pinball machine. Pong was so successful that Bushnell founded the Atari Company to manufacture and sell the game. Pong is considered the first truly successful coin-operated video game. The boom in video games was on. Dozens of companies entered the business of making video games for homes and arcades. Space Invaders, Asteroids, Seawolf, Carnival, and many other video games began thrilling players in every corner of America. But Space War was the game that helped introduce the wonders of the computer to the world. There it is. All right, so what's the main idea? What do you guys think it's mostly telling you about? Video games? How about we say early video games? Right? So what would we say? We certainly would want to bring up Space War in our deal, right? So we would say, you would say, maybe I would say, although Space War was the first video game, comma, there were many video games that followed. Right? And believe me, you can make yours however you want to make it. All right? So what do you do down here? So though Space War was the first, there were many other ones that followed, right? Right? Or you could say, could you say Space War helped? Space War was the beginning of video games, and many games followed after. Right? All right. Well, they tell you about all the other games that followed. I figured that would be your details, right?
Yeah.
All right, you guys. There you have it.